It's time, and welcome back to the Gamer Sleep Podcast for Saturday, May 13th, as we record this. I'm one of your hosts, Larry, and alongside me are my rootin', tootin', pistol shootin', hollerin', and hootin' co hosts. Don't say it at the same time because Aaron, Harry, you guys are here with me. Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm honestly just impressed that you pulled that off so smoothly, but I could not have said all those words together that way. I would have been
Hey,
tongue-tied. I would have stuttered. Something would have went wrong. So
It
that's how
hurt.
I'm doing.
It hurt my brain.
Harry, how are you doing, pal?
I am tired. I've been running around for my child's birthday today, and boy, am I ready to go to sleep.
Sleep sounds good. I've been getting up way too early lately and going to bed late last night because of the good old Legend of Zelda release that we were all excited about, and just going to bed late lately because of gaming in general has been, well, you guys go to bed late because of work, but for
Yes.
me, I mean, it's gaming. But it's been a good week for gaming. It's been a good week. I mean, Phil Spencer won't say that, but we've got a lot to talk about today, from everything from like kind of talking about the Steam Deck's, competitor, to Phil Spencer's interview with Kinda Funny, stirring up some things, Diablo 4, server slam and beta experience, and obviously Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom release. We'll get into a lot of those topics later, but first, guys, what's been going on in the past week for you? Aside from getting pumped for the new release, Aaron, what have you been playing? What have you been eating?
Eating last night what? We had a soybean stew, a Korean recipe. That's what we've been eating. But game-wise, what have I done? I've done Overwatch 2 this week a little bit. I've played way too much Zelda for the amount of time I've had free. And work has been a not so great experience.
Yes. Lovely.
So, right. I want to go to more details about work, but that'd be a boring show. But
no, yeah, the work thing is like,
yeah, it's just stupid stuff like I stamped off to be in a new area. I'm not in that new area yet, but they have me
Yeah.
over there training in the new area, but also working in my old area at the same time. And expect me to get stuff done in both.
Sounds like a factory.
Yeah.
So that's
do a
the
lot of
short
things.
version of that, but
do a
enough
lot of
about
things
that.
well. Yeah. Let's get into the meat and potatoes here. We know what Harry's been up to. He's been getting tired, celebrating birthdays, and
House renovation.
What renovations did you have
what
to
you
do?
doing?
You didn't tell us about this.
No.
He's holding back.
Painting, floor stuff, outside renovation because it's fall.
It's fall.
Getting all that, well, not fall, spring.
Wow, you are tired. Here we
Yeah,
go. You missed the whole summer. Here we are. I know this year's going fast, but damn.
Hibernation, summer hibernation, baby. I'm ready for it.
No. Right.
No, I got getting stuff ready for the bathroom renovation this next weekend. All that good stuff.
You picking out materials and stuff like that, or?
Oh, we have it. I couldn't do it this weekend because obviously we had a birthday party. So
yeah. Are you doing it yourself entirely?
Yep.
I
got the miter saw and the air compressor sitting in there. So
are you doing like tiles and stuff like that, or?
No, it's waterproof vinyl. We're knocking the guy who, I'm gonna air quote this, laid the floor, didn't know how to put like the tile seal, so it all started cracking up like a year into living here, and it's finally got a big enough hole where it's like half my bathroom, and I'm just like, whatever. I went and bought 3 boxes, $64 a box for this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So $190 to redo the floor.
And then Nolan told him out of hours.
It'll probably take me, I want to say 3 hours, and then I gotta rip the toilet up, rip the sink out.
Well, would you carefully rip the toilet out, or are you gonna like demolish the toilet?
No, no. Okay, so all you do, it's got 2 bolts. You turn the water off, you flush it until the water stops
Oh, I'm
coming
familiar
through.
with that. You said rip
And
it
then,
up, so I'm thinking you're gonna
well, yeah, you
violently
gotta
like.
you gotta like lift it up off uh the shithole, if you would.
All right, this is why we had the explicit tag, I guess.
Which brings me up to my question I wanted to ask you
Oh
guys.
God.
I heard this on another podcast, and if you've listened to that podcast, I need you guys to tell me the name because I heard it through a clip. Your toilet becomes sentient. Sentient.
All right.
Would you rather it hate its job or be overly happy to do it?
Overly happy, so I don't feel any guilt.
What is the toilet's voice?
Uh,
That
let's
makes it very different.
let's do like early like 2000s, like the Mr. Toilet. I miss the
Uh,
toilet. I'm hungry for your poo.
Feed me, daddy.
Yeah, see, those are two very different vibes.
It's like either he's like, let's get to work today, or give me that shit, give me it.
Oh my God. I'm gonna have to
I
go with the
still want it to be.
obvious. I don't want to feel like I'm inflicting harm every time I need to do a natural bodily function, so I
Oh
hope
no,
that
not
it wins.
again!
I couldn't do that. I would just die. Septic shock in 2 weeks, dead.
Oh, that
Now,
was a good
now,
question.
now, the real answer to this question is it every toilet you encounter becomes
No,
sentient, or
just
only
your
the one in
toilet.
the home?
Just your toilet. So you get home and that toilet's getting like, oh, you were gone for more than 10 hours today. What's his name?
So, so it's also jealous. All
Yeah.
right.
It's sentient. Come on.
I guess it gets all the feelings, right?
I would hate to see the person's toilet who chooses it to hate its job and it's jealous.
I'm so cold.
Oh god.
Well,
Oh
this is
man.
already off the rails.
My cheeks are.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. We got to start the show off like we usually do with the random fact, and I've got one for you guys.
All right.
Ready? All right. That's got to be, this pales in comparison to the whole sentient toilet thing. So, do I even need to do this anymore? I don't know.
The toilet's not a fact, luckily.
I mean, it could be.
In
AI is getting
Japan, probably.
pretty smart.
One of those Japanese toilets with a bidet, seat warmer, plays music, and says it loves its job.
You guys like alcohol, right?
I love alcohol.
Yeah.
Aren't you really happy? You know, like prohibition's not a thing anymore. Hey, listen, we're not sponsored. You can't show that.
Not yet.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah, you got there. You go. You got to blur it out. Moonshiners used cow shoes to disguise their footprints during Prohibition. To keep their whiskey stills from being spotted, moonshiners during Prohibition would often wear cow shoes with wooden blocks attached to the bottoms to make their footprints resemble cows instead of like regular footprints.
Huh. That's kind of ingenious, actually.
Just imagine walking around with some funky shoes. You can't, like, you're carrying barrels around and somebody just catches you. They're like, bro, what are you wearing?
So would you just know someone's a smuggler if they just have 2 broken ankles because they messed up?
Oh, just like walking on cow shoes? Yeah.
Right. Slips and just gone.
Oh, my ankles hurt just thinking about it.
Carrying a whole barrel and you're like,
Yeah.
moo.
Someone needs to draw that for us.
Do we have any good artists in the Discord? I don't know.
Well,
Say not ours. We can probably get
Someone.
No, I don't know. Someone.
I'll get
Yeah,
my
maybe
wife
someone.
to draw it. I'll get my wife to draw it.
Moo.
Moo.
Moving on out here.
And moving on to the first topic of the day. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Gentlemen.
I'm excited to play it.
It's here. So Harry, you haven't broken the seal yet.
I have not. I've been busy. I picked it up on Thursday. Thursday.
Okay. Yep.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. I picked it up on Friday.
Picked it up on Friday. Same time as me. Yeah, you picked up on Friday. Like really close the same time.
And
we were like on the same wavelength.
I intended to play some Friday night, but I sat on the couch and went to bed at 8:30.
Damn.
True dad form.
Third shift really screws you over when you try and like sleep a little bit. I slept 4 hours, like, "Okay, I can make it to, like, 11 o'clock tonight," and then 8:30 rolled around and my body was like, "Eh, jokes."
Right.
That's the
No, I
way
get
it
you.
goes.
It's like kind of the on the opposite side of things. Like I couldn't do the midnight release if I tried. I might be able to do midnight release, but I can't make it home and play the game. I would actually just, probably pass right out. What's up, Foster?
It's the second time
for
we've
our
gotten
for
flashbang
our
by Foster's tale.
for the video,
I
the
can't
the
stop
video
him.
folks, you can find our podcast now on YouTube at the same time that our audio podcast comes out. But the video viewers, you guys will find a nice treat in this episode. We have a guest cameo, Foster the cat. He is the best boy, and he
True
likes to
story.
hang out with Aaron while we stream and record and stuff like that. So he's making his appearance known. But for our audio listeners, you'll only hear the wheezing laughter when he shows up. So just know that's what you're missing out on. But in the meantime, go like and subscribe to the Gamer Sleep YouTube channel to see more Foster. Uh,
Yeah.
good
And
plug, right? Good plug.
he'll make
Good
more
plug.
appearances too, for sure. Just a matter of time.
That's good.
Gotta
He's a
have,
good
like,
boy.
YouTube shorts of only Foster.
I
Foster
mean,
shorts.
we'd have 1,000 subscribers pretty quick at least.
Right,
Cat
absolutely.
content. I mean,
I think we made a good clip from your stream when Foster was eating your camera that one time, which was
right?
fantastic. So, all right, Harry hasn't played it at all. I want to reserve what I want to say about it, kind of for because it's less important. But Aaron, you've gotten the most time with Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I've probably got close to 10 hours. And I
Damn,
started
that's
playing
lovely.
since Thursday at midnight.
I like it. I like it. So tell me, has it lived up so
To
far
me,
in your 10
yes,
hours?
I'm enamored. I love it. I've been having fun exploring. I'm already spoiler a little bit lightly here is I'm in Hyrule now. I'm on the ground level and I'm just exploring. I've not been to another Sky Island yet or anything, but I've done like
Hmm.
10 shrines. Yes, there's shrines in this one again, if
Hmm.
people don't know yet.
I
So
mean,
I've done all that, messed
if you
with
haven't
all the
played a
powers
Legend of
of it.
Zelda game, there's dungeons and different like spots to find goodies in. So
Right. I've not done any of the dungeons yet. I've not found one. But I
okay,
have beaten a couple of the world bosses, like the Stone Talus and a Stone Talus, but it has a whole fortress on it. So it has like 6 guys on it shooting flaming arrows at you while you have to take down the fortress.
I don't like it.
It's not easy. It took me like an hour and a half because I still at the beginning of the game, so I died a lot because I have limited resources and limited tools at my disposal
Hmm.
to take on such a challenge. But I managed, and it's been fun. I like the world. I like the vibe. It feels like coming home again, but the home isn't familiar anymore
Okay,
compared to Breath of the Wild.
Whose
I
couch is this?
understand. I understand the environment's changed a little bit, even though
Yeah,
it's kind of the same map.
kind of, but it doesn't feel super similar. It's more of, oh yeah, I know where I'm at because of this landmark. But it
Right.
feels like it's changed enough because it's not. It feels like some time has passed, but I'm not sure how much. Like from when you beat Ganon in the first one to them going below the castle.
Okay.
I don't know how long it's been because there's like a new
Okay.
village set up around.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. I'm really just looking forward to seeing what people do with the tools, what crazy creations people can make, like the one I showed you.
You definitely tagged us in a good creation on
I've
Twitter.
seen people make that. People can figure it out, but and I saw a Trojan horse, carts, powered carts, bomb carts, just really fun ways to mess with the world and the tools you have.
Mhm.
I'm just loving it.
I immediately get sad about that because I am not very creative that way. So like if I were to play Minecraft with you, I just play with sand. I don't really do much. I'm still kind of fighting with the tree branches and the wooden sticks and stuff like that. I think I have an axe and a bow at this point too, finally. But yeah, I'm a little overwhelmed. So previous shows just kind of ring true. I wasn't too overly excited for Legend of Zelda. Um, and not that I'm not a fan, but the 3D like Zelda titles, it just never really hit for me to the point where I want to spend all the time in the world in them. Um, I got to play for like 5 minutes before we recorded this, and I spilled my water everywhere. That made me kinda grumpy, but for what it's worth, I mean, I was playing around, having fun with my strong hand because I got my strong hand already, and I'm able to grab things and put things together,
Right.
whatever that wrinkly arm is called. I don't remember what it's called at this point.
I don't know either. I think that ability is Ultra Hand,
Ultra hand, yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it is. That's what ultra hand, strong hand, that's what I'm gonna call it.
but you have that
Um,
furry dude's arm. So,
yeah, yeah. So I've got that. I picked up a couple extra weapons. I saved one of those little tree dudes, and everyone who loves Legend of Zelda is gonna like murder me for
what'd you
not knowing
do?
the.
Oh. It's like, "What'd you do?"
No, no, no. I didn't do anything to him. I saved him and reunited him with his friend. But I haven't gotten out of the Sky Islands yet. Just kind of like played it on the big screen, played it back on the Switch, and I watched a couple of videos to kind of put me in put my expectations in perspective for the game itself. And I gotta say, like I'm really interested in getting further into it, and I just think it's a long burn type of game for me,
Oh, yeah.
where I'm just totally gonna get sidetracked sometimes. I'll dip out of it and come back in, and the I think it's like really impressive going from like sky to underground cavern
Yeah.
without loading. That's pretty nice. I mean, I noticed frame rate dips and stuff like that, but is it going to be bad enough to make me not want to play? Probably not. But
No.
time, and having a little bit of a breadcrumb trail to lead me to the next thing is what's really going to affect my gameplay in this.
And there always is that breadcrumb trail because there's always that golden marker on your map of the next story beat.
Hmm.
So you always know what direction that's in no matter where you're at in the world.
Hmm.
So that is there. So you should be good. But like I said last week, this is definitely the kind of game where embrace your lack of focus, see a cool shiny thing in the distance, and go investigate because you get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
So
Or you get murdered.
usually both, in my experience. So many
Sometimes the
instances of
reward is
just
death.
finding something that's like, this is definitely outside of what I should be doing right now, and trying anyway. But the thing is, you can still make it work. You can still find ways to do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like you told me before, and I think that where my excitement maybe didn't lie in like seeing this game come out and stuff like that. I think it's more about kind of having the game get me into it.
Right.
And as I watch kind of an overview video of like things to like about the game and things that maybe are still kind of an issue coming from Breath of the Wild, I
Yeah.
think that there's a lot for me to enjoy. I think there's a lot for anyone in my position that they could enjoy as a result. I mean, even Denise was sitting down next to me as I played it on the big TV, and she's asking questions and kind of curious about it, and that's really neat that the
I
game
mean,
can do that.
yeah, and I could honestly say the same. I was playing on the big screen. My girlfriend was on the couch with me, and she was watching. She's like, "Maybe I will start Breath of the Wild." Like, all right, give it a shot.
Right?
She's like, "Cause you have that on cart, right? I can just put it into my Switch." It's like, yeah. So she might start that because it was intriguing enough just from watching me.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
But
here's
it's
something
great.
I want to think about too is like the style of play that you can have for this game. So we know
Mhm.
my style is going to be sidetracked the entire time, probably take forever to get through story. Harry, when you finally dive into this, how do you think you're going to approach it?
Probably the same I did as, Breath of the Wild. I like hyper focus missions for, like, a bit, and then I like, "Oh, a leaf, let's follow that, let's go."
A
Yep.
leaf.
It's
Okay.
like,
And oh, go ahead, Harry.
I follow the dopamine on that one, so, like, yeah, it's like missions, missions, grind, grind, and then it's like, "I wanna go try and climb this mountain. Let's go."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I get that. That'll definitely be me. Like just ADD, like running around, like
And
fall
that's
off a cliff, see where I can jump.
it's what I love about this game though, that you can embrace that and you get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Sorry if you
what's
guys hear
your
anything in the
oh,
background. My children are being rough going to bed.
goblin mode?
Yep, goblin mode.
Yep, yep. So Aaron, would your style be like beelining it through the story, or do you
Oh
think
no,
you take your
no,
time?
no, no, no. I might not ever beat the story. That's not important to
Ah.
me.
I
I
I'm
I'm an
I missed your
explorer.
stream for it. I missed your stream for it.
I didn't stream
Right?
it.
Oh, I thought you started a stream of it and then
See,
went into Overwatch.
everyone thought that because of my title, but my title
Ah,
just said it's Zelda Day. Not that I was playing it. I was in the retro category. I just had Zelda in my title, even though I'm not playing it because it's what everyone cares about. I
that's what
just
we
wasn't gonna
call a
stream it.
catfish, sir.
Yeah, you pissed a whole
No,
bunch of Zelda fans
no,
off on Twitch.
no, because even on my Twitter it said it's Zelda Day, but I'm playing something else. Come watch it for no reason.
Oh, no one
He's
reads.
playing Overwatch
Okay,
and he's like, "I'm coming to get you, Princess Zelda."
but no,
I mean, I got to play the game in two of the matches, so I did
no,
pretty all right in Overwatch.
no one reads the whole title on Twitch. They're like, "Oh, Zelda Day, let's go there." Click.
I mean
This is Zelda.
that was a classic joke in one of the Twitch channels I used to be in a lot, and it's like Twitch users can't read, like Twitch users can't read.
Well,
They don't
Oh,
know what they're
that's
talking
like you
about,
playing EVO and me asking 2 times, "What are you playing?"
right? It's like, they don't listen. I could tell them exactly what's going on. They're like, "What? What you doing?"
It's
But
one of the
but
ADHD things.
yeah, exactly. But the way I play these games are I explore, I go where I want. I don't really have any rhyme or reason. Eventually, I'll be just headed in the direction of the golden sparkle dot because it happens. But and then I like to break puzzles with the tools. Like I know how they want me to solve this, but can I find another way?
Yeah. I
Because
think in the opening area has, like, one of those little hook things that you should be able to take across, and I'm stupid, and I didn't realize that my strong hand, would allow me to use the hook and put the wood plank attached to it and then jump on it and go across. You know what I did? I walked a tightrope.
it worked though. You solved the puzzle.
And I realized it later when I saved the little leaf dude, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm an idiot."
Because you saw how they did it. And see, usually in dungeons like that, if you look around the dungeon really well, you will see what you're supposed to make in action. The dungeon will show you what's going on. Like, oh, okay, I know the
Right,
mechanic
and
here.
I think it did. If I looked up, I saw, like, wooden planks moving across the
Yeah.
and I didn't pay attention. I'm just like an idiot, so I tightrope walked and
But
just
just
made it across.
I'm just ready to do I've already seen so many stupid creations on Twitter and TikTok. Like I
Yeah,
saw someone take one of the little Korok guys, make a cart for him, and attach like 3 rocket engines to it, and just dunk, and it just boosh, and
Did
flew
you see
off towards the green smoke.
the flying machine? That was my favorite.
Yeah, it's so cool. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna break the game, have fun with it, and just waste my time. Honestly,
I will be cracking the seal probably tonight or tomorrow. So
please do.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, all right, going into Tears of the Kingdom at this point in time, if you could ask for one thing in the game that's not there now, whether that's a performance thing, whether it's quality of life or just an enhancement in general, is there one thing that you would want the game to have that it doesn't?
It would break everything, but I think this game would be so crazy if you had all the powers from the old one too. If you
Okay.
had the magnesis, if you had the stasis, the
mhm.
cryosis, if you had all 8 powers, this game you could break it in so many ways and do so many weird things with those powers combined
Mhm.
to the point where they couldn't do them all, I believe, unless there's a twist at the end where you get your power back. But I think that's what I'd
Oh,
want.
like a new game plus.
A new game plus with Breath of the Wild's powers enabled.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, that would be pretty neat, I think. I would love to have Oracle of Seasons powers in a game like this.
Yeah. Well, what
You
would
know,
you want if you could change something though, Larry? Do you have anything?
um I mean, right off the bat for me, I would I would want the, like, frame rate to be a little smoother, like,
Mm,
just for the sake of quality. Going from the small screen, I think it works great on the Switch itself, like, I don't notice it as much. Things that I kinda had an issue with while I was playing it on the big screen was just, like, things felt a little washed out. It's kinda
yeah.
tough to discern, like, when you're running around in tall grass and stuff like that. It's different, from, the kinda games that that I jump from with, the higher fidelity graphics, things like that. So, it I know it's on purpose, and I think the game is beautiful as a whole when you kinda step back and look at things. Um, but yeah, I would want, like, a slightly different style. I think I was a little more, um,
Not subtle at
into
all.
yeah, I think that I was a little more into maybe, like, the Twilight Princess style
Mm,
or you could even say, like, Ocarina, where it's just a little more present and not as cell shaded, maybe.
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
something about it that kind of, like, I don't know, kinda messes with my eyeballs.
Well, and that's the thing, it's being held back by the Switch.
I agree.
You can't deny it anymore. You can't. Like,
Yeah,
the game
I
runs
agree.
really, really well for what it is and what it's running on, but the fact of the matter is, it runs better on emulator.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
people who got copies on their PC and are running on emulators are running at 4K at 120 frames a second, and this game is gorgeous
I
when
was
you
reading
have that
about that.
fidelity.
I was reading about that, and I'm like, when you have, like, the higher frames per second on this particular game, it also changes the game logic. Like, it speeds all of that up too.
Yeah.
Have they been able are you aware if they've been able to, like, tweak that to fix it
I
at
mean, I
all?
think that's simple as locking the frame rate at a max of whatever lets everything work.
Okay.
But nonetheless, even then, so you're running at a locked 30 at 4K, still,
So it's still
the
better,
fact that
yeah.
people who are playing this game illegally are having a better experience than people playing it on the hardware it's made for, Nintendo needs to come out with a new hardware sooner than later, but it sounds like we're another year off of that.
Right. And if it sounds like we're another year off, it's probably another 2 or 3.
Mhm.
I would hope that they're much further along in the process behind the scenes, that it's probably gonna be 2025 or 2024, but it's not this year. I know that much. It's
Yeah.
not
No,
gonna be this
absolutely
year.
not. I agree. I agree.
But it's funny because, like, while we're saying people on PC are getting the better experience with this game, apparently this game has made Pokemon fans a little mad in a weird way. And that's because they're like, look what can run on the Switch at a decent frame rate, but you couldn't do that with Pokemon. You couldn't get Pokemon running decently, but they can get Zelda running like this. And there's so much more going on in Zelda.
No, man, you gotta remember there's, all those Zubats flying around in caves in Pokemon, and they have to be flying around when you don't see them, or else they
Yeah,
don't exist.
it just truly shows you that, does Game Freak really care about Pokemon right now? Or are they just making it because they need to?
I mean, I just different teams, different. It just goes back to
It's
our Redfall conversation. Like there's something about what is being prioritized that's unfortunately obviously not quality in some
well,
circumstances.
I mean, I don't wanna, like, bring up another topic before it's time, but Game Freak is working on another game, and it looks like a AAA game, and it's on the Switch, and it looks
I wonder,
way like, it's a
have you seen
samurai
anything
game.
about it?
It's a
The
samurai
samurai game.
game, and it looks gorgeous, and that's, like, Game Freak doing it. They're partnering with another studio, but so Game Freak can do it.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of limitations they have within the, like, let's say, like, the skeleton of a Pokemon title,
Right, what limitations may be put on them by Creatures Inc. or
Mhm.
Pokemon International.
or
It's hard to
just
say.
what you have, excuse me, ooh, as an engine, for those games, right? So,
Right.
as much as the Switch hardware kinda hamstrings you, those games are not always necessarily the most taxing, but we can tell from, like, Legends Arceus to Scarlet Violet, in Scarlet Violet, they put a lot more into it.
Yeah.
More than clearly it could really handle. And it's a shame because like you scale it just a tiny bit and you get something that runs better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And like Legend of Zelda pushes the Switch. Like I'm surprised that that thing's not, smoking while I'm playing it because of how much is going on in the game.
Right, and that's what's honestly really impressive, and kudos to the Zelda team for getting a game like that running this well on a Switch, frame
Right.
rate dips aside.
Yep.
But yeah, just it's kind of crazy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Didn't mean
So
to make
wait,
it
what?
steer it into a discussion about Pokemon. Just the Switch is a capable piece of hardware still if you know how to optimize for it.
Right. Simplistic stuff. And 3 enemies on the screen at any given time. No, actually, you can do 2.
In Pokemon, yeah.
In Legend of Zelda too, that's where you start getting the frame rate dips. You start
Oh,
throwing
is it?
like
Because
3 enemies at a time.
I had like 6 on me at once, and it was running fine. Like maybe I
Was
was
it?
just tired and didn't notice the frame rate, but no, I was fighting 5 enemies at once,
You were
and
just
it
blinking really quick, like.
maybe, maybe.
All right.
Getting those
So,
tired eyes.
any other thoughts for Legend of Zelda? I mean, it's here now. Like, what else is there at this point?
I
Not a lot.
I think I just got to keep playing it.
I think I got to
Right.
start it.
Yeah, you really just need to start it, man.
You know, what if you could play it on a Steam Deck competitor?
I mean, you could for sure because that Steam Deck competitor runs on Windows, not
And you could
Linux.
probably run an emulator, right?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Harry, you still haven't gotten your Steam Deck,
No,
but
not yet.
now you might have an
Ah,
alternative option. You might have an
yeah,
alternative option
actually.
depending. So Asus Republic of Gamers ROG Ally is being reviewed and checked out. You've got some specs on it. It looks just like a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I saw some people actually tweeting about it recently and kind of like talking about it and how it looks pretty good. Um, what have you guys heard about it in general? And do you have any initial thoughts on this little handheld?
I've just seen pictures. That's about it. That's all
Okay.
I've really
That's
seen.
all you really got? All right, I
Mhm.
watched 2 videos over it, both from Linus Tech Tips. One was the early hands-on a couple weeks ago, and today I watched the review. And honestly, this is going to give this Steam Deck a run for its money. It runs better than the Steam Deck on most games at higher voltages, which does diminish the battery life.
Yep.
Steam Deck does outperform it if you're running at the lowest power setting of 10 watts, but then you're talking very low power, very lower tier games per se that you'd play on that power spec. But the only things I've heard is the screen on the Steam Deck is brighter, so it's a little bit brighter of a screen, so it's better for portability in that sense. But other than that, this thing seems like a very well priced, very well designed competition to the Steam Deck.
Yeah, at its highest
And
price, $699, and then there's another option at $599.
yeah, and the $699 only being $50 more than the Steam Deck,
Mhm.
it's kind of worth the price. And
Yeah,
they
so
made a couple design choice difference, like the fans at the top, so the console's directing heat away from itself and not through the back.
Mhm.
So,
mhm.
because that was one
So
complaint I heard about the Steam Deck, is that it vents the heat through the back, so the back gets hot, makes your hands sweaty. Not the greatest,
Yeah.
like
sweaty
comfort.
hands. I feel like
Yeah,
hands are like slipping off of it.
yeah. So they did the thing where the heat's going up and away from everything. So that is a nicer design. And the fact that this runs full Windows, from what I understand, while its implementation of the joystick to mouse cursor is a little bit buggy at this point, you have full Windows to run and play with.
For
Mhm.
better or for
So,
worse.
for better or for worse, it leads to turn it into an emulation machine without
Yeah,
beating around the bush. Like,
and
let's not kid
yeah,
ourselves.
Yeah,
you're gonna
and
install
I hear that
emulators.
it's kind of better to have the Windows aspect rather than the Linux.
It is in the fact, but it makes to me it kind of makes the Ally more of a utilitarian device as well. You could
Right.
check your Twitter on it, you could browse, you could be on YouTube, you could use it as a computer.
Yeah.
You pick up the Steam Deck, you're playing a game.
Right. Right.
This could be more like, oh, I'm gonna use the Hulu app on my Switch. I'm gonna watch
Mm.
videos on it. It's
Yeah, I don't have the
That's
comparison of like battery life, but I mean, seeing battery life for gaming as short as 1.5 hours was like, yeesh.
yeah, but an hour and a half. If you're probably running at the highest power setting, 45 watts, I think is the highest they have. It might be 35. I'm a little
Mhm.
fuzzy on that one. But if you're playing that portable and you're not plugged in, you're already just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Like you just probably wouldn't ever do that on the go.
Yeah, legitimately. You're right. You're right.
Right. Like
Harry,
you would
you were
be
saying something.
I was gonna say like using this stuff for handheld, like for like Twitter and stuff. That just would kind of ruin it for me. If I'm gonna spend that much on it, it's just gonna be for games.
right,
Yeah.
right. But I don't know. I could see this being a device for me. It's like if I got it, yeah, I would say that too. I would do it. Then there'd be this one time where it's like, well, I have this on me and I want to go to YouTube real quick, so let's just do that. And then it slowly becomes a mixed media device.
It's just like you're sitting on your couch and you look over on your coffee table and your phone's over there and you're just like, I could get up, but
Exactly. But when it comes to the battery life thing, who are we kidding? When you buy one of these things, you're gonna put it in your bag for a plane flight and you're gonna play Vampire Survivors or something of that ilk.
Mhm.
Ooh, that was a
Like
good
you're not
word.
gonna sit down and be like, I'm gonna play The Last of Us on this thing on a plane. It's like, no, I'm gonna play Hollow Knight. I'm gonna play Hades. I'm gonna play, you know.
You're probably
Yeah.
best to take it on a plane and not play any games that have any like booming noises on it.
You should have headphones if you're on a plane. Please have that decency. Please.
If you don't have a pair of headphones to play some video games in 2023, you shouldn't
I mean,
have either the Steam Deck or its Asus cousin.
yeah. But I don't know. I'm still not sold on buying any one of these because I struggle to find time to play games at home. I'm not gonna play more games because I spent $700 on a handheld computer.
Right. And that
Not
goes
at
back
this
to our
point in
old
my life.
conversation of disposable income. Like if you just had so much money that you didn't know what to do with it, then yeah, okay, I can see it.
Yeah, then
Just
it's
like
pretty
some people
cool.
buying multiple Switch units.
Full
Right.
VR room. Full
Full
VR room.
VR room, stuff like
Right.
that. But it's like I can't say honestly at this point I've not been tempted by that add to cart button on Best Buy to get the OLED Switch. They still have the Zelda one in stock, and I look at it like I don't need it. I really don't need it, but damn.
I don't need
I'm still
it.
kicking old Rusty. Release date old Rusty.
I have my Pikachu Eevee special edition, so do I really need another special edition? No. But it's pretty. And that bigger screen and better battery life would be nice.
You could
So
put the old one on display.
I could or sell it for the OLED. I still have the box. I have everything, so maybe.
Right, right. Yeah, that could work for you. Well, I guess unanimously we're not excited for, the Asus ROG Ally.
See, I don't really want to say that, but what I do like is there's now competition in the market. Steam has proved that this form factor is viable enough for another company to produce it. And if we keep seeing improvements, keep seeing new versions, I would want one someday. But I'm not going to be the Gen 1 guinea pig tester of a device like this.
Yeah, I get you on that one.
I'll wait till
Yeah.
reversion 3 or 4 before I'm really tempted.
Where they fix the battery.
Where they fix the battery performance is better, it's thinner, it's more portable. There's a lot of things they could improve upon it in further iterations.
Bluetooth keyboard.
I mean, you could do that. It's Windows.
Tell
But
you what though, I know what I am excited for.
what's that?
Since it ain't the Asus. Diablo 4. We
Yeah.
talked about this last stream, or last podcast, and at that point I hadn't had the opportunity to play the game at all. But Ooh boy,
How much have
am
you
I
played
happy.
now?
To be honest with you, probably just an hour's worth, not even. And that
Fair.
was enough. That was enough to make me feel like, yep, I'm excited for this game.
It's just that game is cathartic in its
Mhm.
very nature.
Listen, I was excited just watching the cinematics while joining it on the server slam last night. I stayed up till like it was probably midnight. I played Legend of Zelda on the big screen, and then turned that off and moved on over to Diablo 4. Got right into the server slam last night. It was probably about might have been 11 o'clock or so. Hopped right in. I loved the fidelity of the game. The character creator is a little bit lackluster, but for what it's worth, you don't see anything on your character anyway, except for
Mhm.
some armor every now and then. So no big deal. I still enjoyed, looking through the different classes and checking things out. I played as the druid, so I was the big bear boy,
Hell yeah.
and
Big bear boy.
that was fun. That was cool. Like the beginning of this game, I love the setting. I love the weather effects. It still felt like home to me because I played a ton of Diablo 3,
Yep.
but just had this like added realism. The textures are great. I'm like glowing about this game in a way that like when I put down Legend of Zelda and I was like, ah, now it's time to move on to the game I'm really excited for by comparison. And it was just so much more enjoyable to me, and I feel weird saying that, and I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel bad saying that because I want to join in and enjoy what everybody else is having fun with too, Legend of Zelda,
Right.
but man, Diablo just had me in its grips. I was more like time flew for me more playing that.
So you're more of like a dungeon crawler than an open world guy.
I think so. I think that's my realization.
That makes
Mhm.
sense, actually, the more I think about it for you. That makes total sense. I've not gotten to play any of the Server Slam yet. So I've only played as the barbarian. I don't have a lot of experience myself, but
Mhm.
I want to get in there. I want to try to get in there before this weekend's over.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna
But
try and get some tomorrow.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying to get back in this evening to try to play another character class or something like that. I'm interested in trying out like sorcerer. I was demon hunter and for a long time for Diablo 3, so maybe play a little rogue.
mm,
But
Mhm.
I usually actively avoid the big strong characters like like barbarian. I built characters just to have them, and I
right.
didn't really stick with barbarian. Um,
See,
but
barbarian's the only one I have experience with at this point. I tried to play today actually. Clicked on necromancer. It failed to load the first cutscene. I had to all control delete in task, kill Diablo, and then I played Overwatch 2. So,
Old reliable.
right,
yeah,
right.
I just wasn't in the mood to try to fight a game to launch.
Yeah,
So,
and it's probably peak times too, like during the day like that, you're gonna have a tougher time getting in,
yeah.
where, like, I got
Mhm.
in late last night, so people were probably logging off, and it's less
I mean,
stress.
but that's the point. This is a stress test.
Mhm,
So,
mhm. Yeah,
if I helped, then cool, I guess. I just didn't get to play.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so other takeaways I have, like, that I enjoyed, like, I know for Diablo 3, we had, like, a roll, but it didn't really do anything
Mhm.
like, dodging from what I remember. I just feel like it was an animation. Um
Yeah.
We have like a dedicated dodge button, which has a timer on it, and I want to spam the button like crazy because I'm used to playing Hades, and so that doesn't work quite the same for me.
No.
I felt a little more mortal in the sense that from going from Diablo 3 to Diablo 4, like the health orbs in Diablo 3 just continue. Hi, Foster. Continued to heal you no matter what you did. Like it didn't matter if you had a little bit of health that's gone versus having a ton of health missing. For Diablo 4, you tactically get to use health orbs that drop. So
Right.
as you're fighting your enemies, these health orbs drop. I'm wondering why they just weren't picking up like Diablo 3. And I realized, okay, I've got to actually manually like hit on my controller LB to use the potion to heal, and then I could go and pick up a dropped health orb that's on the ground.
Mhm.
So you can store like up to 4 of those at any given time. And I thought that was a pretty cool thing because it makes me pay attention a little bit more, and it almost feels more World of Warcraft or more like MMORPG style than what Diablo had at the time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I need to get more hands on with it. I don't remember it that much, but yeah, I'm not sure where I'm going with this actually. Like, I just want to play
But
more of this game.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Like, you say that, and I'm kind of the same mindset of, like, do I want to play more of it? Like, do I just wanna wait? Because what we're playing now is in the game, and I'm gonna replay that again when it comes out and just kinda be I did that with Diablo 3 and was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna scoot through this in the beginning." And I kinda wanna go into stream and just enjoy that for the first time and enjoy that together with everybody and not beat it like a dead horse before it releases.
Yeah. See, I get where you're coming from. I guess I don't know. People play Diablo's games differently, and with Diablo 3 end game, if you're playing seasons and doing that stuff, you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over anyway. So
Yeah,
it's like
Mhm.
to
yeah.
me, that's just Diablo in a nutshell. It's like,
Mhm.
no, I'm not gonna mind doing this again because I'm gonna do it again and
Yeah.
again and again. Because I played seasons, maxed out the season challenges, did all that. So I'm doing hundreds of bounties, hundreds of bosses, you know. So to me, it's like, I'm going to do things so much in the game. I don't really think one character playthrough is going to burn me out or make me
Right.
have a bad experience. It's just,
Mhm.
all right, I'm going to play as a rogue this time. All right, I'm going to try to go for this set this time. I know there's not set pieces in the game yet, but
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. One of the, interesting things that I saw, for Diablo 3, a lot of the gameplay loop was like, "Oh, the weapon dropped, but I didn't get the specs that I want," or
Hmm.
"It doesn't have sockets," that kinda thing, and something now that you're able to do is with resources and money, you're able to socket weapons that you like already. So that way
Ooh,
you can fit gems into them without having to like, "Oh, man, I gotta go run this again." So you kinda you delete some of that grind. Maybe not so much so if you just continue to level because you'll just, obviously be able to get better and better loot. But
right.
um, it kind of gives you maybe a little bit more of a tail with a weapon you really like.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that there's respec. Pretty much you can respec or at. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna like
yeah, it's
that.
like yeah, it's like not completely random in that sense. Where you don't have to be
Right.
disappointed with something you really like because it's, for instance, it's a legendary. I love getting those legendaries, and then finding out, or the what were they? What was it? There was legendary, but then there was one that was higher. Was it relic?
Relics, yeah. Relics with the
Yeah,
red items on the ground. Because there was orange
yeah.
ones for legendary. I think relics were red.
I think it was yellow legendary, and then orange
Okay,
was
was it
your
yellow?
yeah. I maybe I'm
Okay.
part colorblind. I don't know, but
Either way, yeah. There was definitely one
yeah,
to beyond legendary, and then the set items I mentioned before. But
yeah.
Mhm.
that
Harry, you've been kind of quiet during this whole conversation. Aaron and I dominated this. Like,
Oh,
how?
yeah,
What do you?
Diablo I have touched nothing in Diablo, so I'm just like, "Yep, yep, yep, yep."
What about Diablo 3? Did you play that at all? Like,
I
or have any kind of?
last time I played, like, half of a mission on Diablo 3. Diablo 2 is the last one I really touched.
Okay.
wow,
Wow. Okay. Is it just
wow.
not your style, or was one of the things you were like, "I can skip this one"?
I I don't know, Diablo 3 just kinda didn't really appeal to me because it's like the console it went to console, and then it seemed, like, very cartoony compared to, like, the old Diablo style.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of
that was a
people
common complaint.
said that Diablo 3 was too bright. So
Mhm, mhm. No, I get that. I get that for sure. I'm really excited for that to release. That's coming out, June 6th. So that is going to be, a fantastic new adventure to go on, and I think that's gonna soak up a ton of my time. So I'm super looking forward to it.
have you pre-ordered yet? Because I have not pre-ordered at all.
I sure did. I sure did.
I
Uh
I've got a sour taste for one thing about Diablo, and it's why is there a battle pass?
Because everything has to have a battle pass.
Right.
But why? Doesn't it?
You gotta get a pass for the battles.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not buying this one. I do not care about cosmetics in Diablo.
Yeah, I
No.
don't really care about that so much either. And the only reason why I pre-ordered it specifically so that I can hop into it a couple days early and stream.
Ah, see, they got you there. All right, the
Yeah.
couple day early thing. I'm
Mhm.
I'm gonna buy it, so I'm complaining for the sake of complaining when it comes down to it, because they're gonna get my money. But I
Yep.
already paid for an Overwatch Battle Pass. I can't give two to the same company.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I'm not sure battle pass wise if that's something that's going to be up my alley for it too. But we'll see because I don't know. I might change my mind come time to like I see what's in it and I go, okay, maybe that's worth it for me if I'm really invested in it.
I
But
mean, Marvel
will the
Snap got you to
game?
buy one.
Yeah, I no actually. I think it gave me enough of the tokens to buy one battle
Oh,
pass,
all
and then
right,
I never bought it again. So I never spent any money on that.
Mhm.
all right, crafty.
Yeah, yeah,
Anybody
absolutely.
anybody still playing that?
No,
No, I dropped it. I dropped it.
I
I just
picked it
don't.
up again last week. Played a couple matches in it.
Yeah,
I I picked up Vampire Survivors again this week.
Oh,
So
I've been playing Mighty Doom a lot this week on my phone.
you were talking about that.
I don't even know what that
It's pretty
is.
fun. It's like a linear. It's not like open like Vampires is, but it's like
Like
a
over the top.
linear. So you like get enemies, you fight those enemies, and then you go to the next level, and then you fight some enemies, and you go to the next level, and you get to constantly upgrade your stuff. But it's
All
like
right.
set to like a cartoon stylish Doom, so it's pretty cool.
Okay. Now that's you were talking about that, and I wanted to download it, and I totally forgot. So I might end
Hmm.
up checking it out. But just like gaming on my phone, there's barely enough time in the day. So
Yeah,
like another thing on my phone to keep me attached to my phone. I'm like,
this is break.
Twitter's bad enough.
This is like for break or when I'm sitting down with like the kids.
No,
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
lying. This is for when you poo.
I mean that too.
Feed me, daddy.
Obviously. That's like the one thing that like smartphones have done is let you block out the toilet talking to you when you're trying to.
The one thing smartphones have done is make hemorrhoids more common.
Yeah, yeah.
You've chosen the sentient toilet that you're torturing, but you're playing Mighty Doom while you're torturing it, so it's screaming in pain while your phone is screaming in pain because you're playing Doom.
Oh, that's hilarious.
We've come full circle.
Full
Yep,
circle.
yep. Guys, I think it's time to move on to the next topic here. And it was something that jumped up kind of after we reported on Redfall. You know,
Mhm.
Redfall having a little bit of a like not a little bit, a lot of bit of a tough launch. So
Yeah.
shortly after Redfall's launch, head of Xbox Phil Spencer was invited onto the Kind of Funny Xcast. Kind of Funny, headed by like Greg Miller from IGN. For anybody who's not too familiar, they usually have great shows. Games Daily, things like that. And yeah, they had Phil Spencer join them for an interview. It was like Mike and Paris and I think they had somebody else on there too with them as hosts. But in short, Phil Spencer really did open up about the situation surrounding Redfall and had a larger conversation with those guys about the state of Xbox in general. Um, Now I have like personal feelings, and of two minds of it. When it first happened, I kind of brushed it off a little bit, and as I sat with this interview, my feelings have changed a little bit. So I'm kind of glad we didn't get to like shoot from the hip and just, you know, hit this news with only like a day or so to think about it.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you guys have strong feelings one way or another about what's going on, but I'll go through a part of the quote,
All right.
um, open it up for us, and then kind of digest it a little bit more as we go. So uh, bear with me, visual and audio listeners. I'm going to go through the quote from Phil Spencer. and it's a two-parter. It's a little bit long, but Phil Spencer, when questioned about, the state of Xbox, what's going to happen with the quality of games, like we're getting a little impatient as Xbox, fans and patrons. He kind of had a longer answer for it, and here it is. So, part of it is going to be we're not in the business of out consoling Sony or out consoling Nintendo. There really isn't a great solution or win for us as Xbox. I know that will upset a ton of people, but it's just the truth of the matter. When you're third place in the console marketplace and the top two players are as strong as they are, and in certain cases have a very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that make being on Team Xbox hard, that's on us, not on anybody else. Our vision is that everybody that's on console has to feel like they have a great experience and feel like they're a first class citizen. Uh, these folks have invested a ton in the platform, but we're not in a position. And I see commentary that if you just build games that are great, everything will turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see the console marketplace share shift in some dramatic way. We've
Mhm.
lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation. We all remember that
Yeah.
uh, when everybody built their digital library of games. So just piggybacking off of that very last statement, look at previous generation: PlayStation 3, Xbox
Yeah.
One, Wii U. Um, so everybody's buying those consoles,
Mhm.
and you're really starting to cement your place in an ongoing ecosystem,
Yeah.
right? Like your
Yeah.
PlayStation 3, your Xbox 360, that kind of stuff carried into the next generation. The people who really loving one system over another, one ecosystem over another, you're not typically going to just jump ship because you have so much invested into it. Your friends are there, your saves are there, your whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
I get what he's saying in that sense. Any
Yeah.
Yeah.
strong feelings one way or another about that, gentlemen?
You wanna go first, Harold, or
Uh, you can go ahead.
well, here's the thing, like, people
Mhm.
did switch once, and it's when they fumbled with the Xbox One. That
Yeah.
was when they dropped the ball, we all know this.
Yep.
But I have so many people I know, instead of buying an Xbox One when they had a 360 the entire time, they went to PlayStation 4,
Right.
and now they're there,
Mhm.
and getting them to switch again isn't happening.
Right.
Mhm.
And for everyone else, I fall into the camp of that there is nothing Microsoft could do to get me to buy an Xbox. There is nothing. I have a PC, I have a PlayStation. I don't need one.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Not one thing?
You
I
sure
I
about
I
that?
mean, I'm not trying to
Sure
be a
about that?
hater. I'm not trying to be a hater, but when it comes down to it, and I've asked this to my friends who play on Xbox for the past decade, tell me one thing I can do on an Xbox that I can't do it somewhere else that I already own. One
Play loads
game.
of free games for $14.99 a month.
You can do that with PC Game
I
Pass.
already have Game Pass.
Yeah. But
I don't know.
I like
Probably.
I like that you're in a good situation there
Mhm.
though. So
Yeah.
and that's that part of like that larger conversation, I think, is what Phil's telling us. He is kind of waving his white flag like, listen,
Yeah, a little bit.
the console's not gonna win. It's not
No.
gonna win, but it's because he's focused on Game Pass, and
Mhm.
Game Pass is on your PC.
Consoles
You're in
aren't where the battle's fought right now.
yeah,
It's services.
right.
Yeah.
And you're already you're an Xbox customer whether you like it or not if
Yeah,
you're
I
using
am,
Game Pass Ultimate.
and I love it.
You have an Xbox at home, it's your PC.
Yeah, I have Xbox Game Pass, but that's what I'm saying is he's right. I'm never gonna buy an Xbox console. Starfield being a great game, if it is not gonna make me buy an Xbox. I'm
Right.
just not gonna do it. I'll play
Right.
it on PC, and that's a
Exactly.
lot of people.
Well, I think
Mhm.
also, like, if, uh, PlayStation were to release some of their titles to PC market, it would probably be in the same spot that Xbox is right
But the
now,
thing, it
which is
hasn't. Their games
yeah.
are on PC.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if, like, their their library, because like, that's why I think that with Sony is you got people that are like into a certain type of game, like
Yeah.
that only PlayStation offers.
I
Yeah.
mean, Sony has repeatedly knocked the one genre they do out of the park, and that is the linear story told giant
Mhm.
cinematic game. God of War's,
Yep.
Last of Us, Spider-Man,
Uncharted.
giant one-player story games. Sony doesn't really miss on those too often.
Yeah.
And the only place you're playing them when they're new is the console. You're right.
Mhm.
If they didn't have that, they wouldn't be as big
Yeah.
as they are. But like he said, it really just came down to they lost last generation so badly that they can never recover.
Oh yeah. And a big problem with it is, I think, is they're trying to cash in on nostalgia rather than trying to innovate what they have in front of them.
Yeah. I mean, does anyone really I hate saying it because I know people do, but does anyone really get excited when they announce another Halo game at this point?
No.
Does anyone
Yeah.
really get that hype for another
Halo.
Fable? Maybe, but that's nostalgia baiting again.
See,
It is.
yeah, but I don't know. Fable, I would be hyped to see like another good title.
But you're hyped because of nostalgia,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you loved the first one.
but I think with Halo, I was done with that for. I was like when they started feeling clunky, and I was like, nope, I'm done.
When 343 took over, because you go
Mhm.
play Destiny 2 and you're like, oh, this feels like Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a shame. It's a shame. I get what you're saying there. And I mean, as it's so weird. It's so weird. Like, all right, so I think to myself, as an Xbox, Series X owner, I love the console. I love what I'm able to play on it. I love what I'm able to do with it. 'Cause I
Yeah,
don't have a PC. It
Mhm.
works fantastically for me because it just plug and play, ready to rock. I'm good,
right.
right? Um, I could also buy a PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah,
I would add to PlayStation 5's like growth.
yeah,
Uh, Vice versa. Like PS5 owners, if they decided, hey, you know what, it's worth getting an Xbox because I don't want to spend X amount of dollars on a PC. It's worth getting an Xbox because I really want to play X game.
right,
Um,
Mhm.
but Phil has a point in the sense that it's not gonna be one game that necessarily drives people to go out and play it. Because if there was one game that's gonna drive me to go out and get a PS5 right now, it's a Spider-Man game,
right.
right?
Yeah.
And every time I think about it, I'm like, that game's gonna be over in a few hours for me. It's not gonna be something that keeps me that excited about the console, and the timeshare between the two is probably a little too much to justify it for me. And I want one. Don't get me wrong. Um, it's just one of those tough things. Like, I just don't think that the consoles aren't where the battle is anymore.
No,
PlayStation has
No.
their business model, right? And that's what they need to do. They need to drive that. Xbox doesn't need to do that anymore
no.
because they've got such a wide range. And I think that we kind of lose sight of that when, hey, Xbox is better, PlayStation is better, yada yada yada. It
Yeah,
happens. That conversation goes on. Um, and chess is being played versus checkers. But at the same time, you got to have some good games.
right.
You
You
Well, I
you
mean,
gotta.
gotta build that. You do.
you also got to look at it from this perspective too. PlayStation is giving a little bit of pushback on like, oh, they're going to take COD. They are a little bit worried for the multiplayer market.
Yeah, but
So that's what you got to look at. Like Xbox will always have that multiplayer market if it comes to it. Dirty, it'll be dirty the way they do it,
yeah.
but they will have a cap on that multiplayer market.
I mean that. I would say that'd be true if we were still talking about the mindset of the previous generation. But the fact of the matter is, every game is crossplay now.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
almost
for the
news when
most part.
a new game isn't.
Right.
So
Well, I mean, if they make the next Call of Duty not allow PlayStation though, then it's
yeah,
not going to
but
be crossplay.
they've already said they will put Call of Duty out on PlayStation as long as a PlayStation console exists. They did that to get the Federal Trade Commission off their back worldwide for the merger.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're gonna go. They would go that route, but when it comes down to it, yeah, everyone's playing a different game now. Nintendo is
Right.
doing its own thing. No one's
Mhm.
competing with Nintendo. Nintendo's doing its own business plan. Xbox is a great place for services, and they're expanding their services, and they're putting a lot of work into that market. Sony is the only one trying to stay traditional, saying we make our money off console and games.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sony's PlayStation Plus expanded services are lackluster and overpriced and confusing. They're not doing it well.
Right. I think,
Yeah.
so there was a second part of this quote, and I think I wanna
Of course.
skip it because a lot of it was a little more damage control, I think, than really saying anything,
Yeah.
but he did say something else that struck me, and I remembered it as you were talking, and I'm starting to lose it now, but, um, man, he was talking about some of what he talked about kind of made me start to think about the management style of Microsoft. And if you think back to previous episodes where we were chatting about the Activision Blizzard acquisition by Xbox, I was excited about it. And something that when this conversation first happened with Kind of Funny, I was like, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm not too worried because Xbox for me fits the bill for what I need. Hey, Foster. Um, and now that I've had time to breathe and think about this, I look at the larger issues that could be occurring behind the scenes. What a good boy. And Aaron, you may as well
Just
just embrace it because
just let him just
you may as well embrace it. You're on screen with him anyway. So yeah, there you go. Give him the love. Give him the love.
all right, buddy.
So the big problem I find here is that Phil Spencer mentioned that for Redfall, Xbox didn't really go in and manage and help manage Redfall, development, and
No.
that they have done quote unquote a better job of helping to manage Starfield. Does that make
Yeah.
either of you guys nervous for how Microsoft will handle other things that they own?
No, I mean, slight orange flag probably. Caution
Yeah,
flags out. Like
right.
because it all depends on how heavy that hand is.
Yeah.
Sure. So
If
far, it's not been
they're
heavy at all.
right, but that's also letting it run free is not proven a good management style either.
Right.
Because these lackluster games keep coming out, and that's things aren't dire for Xbox, but really look at their past releases. When has one been great?
Eh.
Right.
When has any of them been like knock it out of the park? This is a 10 out of 10 game of the year contender.
I mean, there's nothing that comes to mind that's console exclusive that has been like
No.
Or Game Pass
tentpole
exclusive.
franchise. Yeah, right. There's nothing like that's too crazy. I should have prepared and compiled things that I could say, like, yeah, definitively these are good experiences on
Well,
Xbox.
when it comes down
But
to it, from what I've heard other people talking, the most recent and only one a lot of people can think of is
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush. It
Mhm.
was good.
Yeah.
It was
But
really
that's not a
good.
triple A. That's not a triple A. That was a shadow drop that if it was a prepared drop, it would have gotten crapped on.
Probably.
Yeah.
It was a surprise and it turned out well because nobody had any expectations of it.
And maybe
But
we
you
should go
start
back to that way of marketing video games instead of these 5-year lead ups. Like,
Yeah.
oh
do we really need
shit.
about Elder Scrolls 6 right now still? Is that
Shareholders,
necessary?
bro.
Well, I think that a lot of it also could be that they're trying to cash in since they're trying to cash in on this nostalgia train and then they fall short,
Yeah.
then
I mean,
I mean,
you can't change people and not have the same talent and the same drive behind an idea and expect it to really come through with the same, force that it did when it was initially a spark. It's like
yeah.
I can't go back in time and bring my band back from the dead and expect it to hit the same way that it did when it first came out. It just
right,
doesn't work that way, you know?
right.
Yeah.
But then you could
If
like
it, yeah.
scream to the heavens that I'm tired of this nostalgia baiting. I'm tired of nostalgia baiting. I want something new. But then you get things like Redfall. They tried something new and they were punished
Nah,
for it.
nah, see, that's where I disagree. It is a nostalgia beat. It is,
It's a new IP.
Left for Dead.
It's a
No, this
loot
is different.
shooter. This is a loot shooter. Left 4
Yeah.
Dead's
It's
not a loot game.
it feels so much like Left 4 Dead.
No.
I've
It's
not
just
I
played
actually
any.
vampires.
I've not
I'm
played
surprised.
any.
You know what? I've got to think about this too because I think I have like described it kind of Left 4 Dead like. But the more I've played it and I put a lot of time into it, it's more Fallout 4, Fallout 76 than it is a Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, but when you start playing with your friends, though, that's when the Left 4 Dead comes out, and that's where it gets good.
See, I've only played with myself.
See, and what I've heard this more compared to is a worse Borderlands.
Yeah, I mean, it's got
Yeah,
that. It's got feels like all of them. Like I won't say you're incorrect for saying it feels a certain way,
yeah.
but for me, it felt like they were trying to cash in on like the Left 4 Dead crowd, like the team play versus, cryptids.
But then they couldn't even get the team play right, and only one person, and it's the host, can make any progression. Like,
Hmm.
how do
Well,
they
I mean,
drop the ball like that?
if you think about Left 4 Dead, I mean, you didn't really have to worry about
Progression.
progression, so to speak, because you
Yeah,
just play these maps over and over again.
But the other games in this format have had group progression figured out for years. It's nothing
Yeah.
new.
Yeah,
It's
especially
not
when there's a story. There's a story in this that is
right.
cohesive versus a
hmm,
Left 4 Dead, which is like get A to B.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I don't want to keep hating on Redfall or keep talking because we're not supposed to be talking about Redfall right now. It's just we went off on
We
this
don't have any
tangent.
overlords. We can do whatever we want.
You're right. I
It,
hope.
it's not bad. It's not the greatest. It is what it is.
It's painfully mediocre.
They mushed a whole bunch of different like ideas together, and it came out the way it came out.
Mhm.
And it came out in a way that's made Microsoft be like, all right, maybe we should guide these people along a little more.
Yeah.
And I do think it was harshly judged more than it should have been because it is not a that bad of a game.
Is it a $70 game though?
No, but I mean,
But it
it's
is.
it's a Game Pass exclusive,
If you have Game Pass, but other than that, it's $70. What would you
Right.
feel like if you paid $70 for this game?
or you could just spend the $10
That's
and get
getting
it.
into semantics.
I
I'm
mean,
just talking if you
let's just say
go to
you
a
didn't
store
have
and
the
buy a
option.
game.
Look back to Aliens Colonial Marines and, all the depressed people that bought that one.
They should have known better.
I mean, okay, yeah, I could
Randy
see
Pitchford,
like
man. Randy Pitchford sold that thing real good, and we all loved Gearbox, and we all loved Borderlands.
if it's a game
You're
that
right.
if it's a game you're willing to shell out the $70 on, I think that you might find it more enjoyable than someone who got it on Game Pass on a whim. Like if you were looking forward to it enough to spend the money on it, it probably wasn't that bad for you.
That's a different perspective take on it then.
Yeah.
Because yeah, maybe we are being more harsh on a game because we're not out the money for it. But
Then again, at that point, you're being an apologist for something that you spent money on, and now you feel like you need to defend it because
Not
you
it,
need to justify your expense.
not necessarily. They could actually like it. Like
and
it
there
That's
are
could be
true.
their
people
cup of tea.
and there are people out there who have been enjoying this game and I'm not saying they're wrong.
I'm one of those people. I rather enjoy it. It's a fun time killer.
I mean, and see, that's what I have heard though from people like it would be a good game to play a movie with or to listen to a podcast while you play.
Listen,
But
I'll be honest with you, like, and this is no judgment on like Legend of Zelda by comparison. It's just like more time passed with me playing Redfall where I didn't notice than has so far with the time I've spent with Legend of Zelda.
Mhm.
mm,
But what I will say is Legend of Zelda has a lot more going for it and going on in it than
Mhm.
Redfall does. And that might be one of the reasons. Redfall
I
is
think
half baked by comparison.
I think one big change, well, one small change or big change, however you want to look at it, would affect it. If you were able to add like an, an AI teammate, that would probably make it feel a little bit more homey.
mm,
Sure.
because the
Instead
world
of
feels pretty empty and
desolate.
sparse,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
right? I could see that. But that
So
would probably easier than said than done.
yeah.
Yeah, it would take some time, I think, for them to develop things and fixes and quality of life things for that. But to go off of the Redfall conversation here, just as a final maybe like a final judgment or a thought in terms of what we've just talked about in terms of Xbox and Phil Spencer's words, things like that. If you guys could, and this is a snap thing, so as just a final thought on the end of the podcast here, are you more concerned, or like maybe your opinion hasn't changed, or you're not concerned at all about like the future of Xbox, like the console, or anything like that? And Aaron, I'll start with you. Like, what are your thoughts after this interview?
I think Xbox is fine. They have Microsoft backing. They have money. They have funding. They're not going to be sold off. We're going to get another Xbox console. I don't know about after that, but things aren't looking great for them. They need a hit. They need a
Mhm.
good game. I will start having more red flags from if Starfield comes out and it's a wash. Oh boy.
Yeah.
See,
Oh,
I think Xbox needs to look at themselves and decide what they're going to be, what kind of game company they're going to be, because it changes with every console. It seems like for them.
different leadership.
Yep.
So I think they need to look at it and be like, "Hey, this is our how we're going to do it. This is what games we want to put out. We have all these IPs on the back burner. Let's start cranking out good games. Let's make them develop one like you got 5 years to develop a game, and we got like this team 1 year, this team 1 year, this team 1 year, this team 1 year." And I think that would be fine. Doesn't have to be the same type of game, because if you want a yearly game, you got that Call of Duty coming out every year.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, you can't bank on something like that. Like, there's money that comes through that way, but you need to start making a splash. That console share market share isn't gonna change the way Phil
No.
Mhm.
said. You know, I
No.
believe him 100%. Like, he knows the numbers, he's smart.
Yeah.
Um, and the unfortunate thing is leadership changes, that Phil doesn't have forever.
No.
No.
I like him enough coming from where he's come from, like, following from when Xbox One, that disaster happened, being a fan then, having that console, having the Connect, going through that, and
All of
and
it.
and and being a part of it, and like being a patron of them, and seeing him come in and say, "Listen, we've got to kind of reverse course. This is a big ship, and
Yeah.
it's not going to change overnight. Like, they've got to take little wins where they can." And
Mhm.
unfortunately, we're in the position we're in. He's not going to be around forever, for better or for worse. Some people like him and some people don't, but I think he's always been pretty darn honest, and clear in his messaging the entire time that services are where it's at.
Yeah.
Being able to play any of the games that they get anywhere you possibly can get Game Pass is going to be the way to do it, and that's going to mean a change in the consumer too.
I mean, and it already has happened. I mean, like I was saying earlier about myself, I'm never gonna buy an Xbox, but I'm their
Yep.
customer still
Mhm.
Yep.
because they have a
Exactly.
compelling service.
Exactly.
Yep.
You don't need to spend the $600 or $500 or whatever it is on their console, because you've already got a $3,000 version of their console.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know. So thank you for discussing that with me, guys. I appreciate you. To all of our listeners and viewers in the 14 different countries that folks listen to us from, thank you so much for joining us on this latest episode of the Gamers League podcast. In the description, we'll have the links for our Discord. We'll have our links for all of our socials as well. But before we do go, Aaron, where can we find you? And what are you going to be up to in the upcoming week?
I can be found at Pyro909 on sorry, brain lapsed there for a second. At Pyro909 on Twitch and Twitter. And I've just been playing some retro games lately. Been playing a SNES game on stream. Might switch it up with some PlayStation or PlayStation 2 games. I've got a couple prepped that I'm gonna try to play on stream soon. But
There you
I'll
go.
let those speak for themselves.
Nice. Harry?
You can find me on Twitter at Harry3Eyes. And you can find me. No, it's at Roldy Plays on Twitter. Sorry.
There you
Uh,
go.
Xbox, not Xbox.
Not the only one with brain lapse in here.
YouTube. It is Harry3 at Harry3Eyes. I am not gonna be posting anything on that anytime soon within the next couple weeks because I am gonna be busy with the Game or Sleep, YouTube,
Check it
which
out.
that's at Game or Sleep Productions. We're going to have the podcast coming out this Wednesday, the video form, and then we are working on some more content for the next few weeks.
Indeed.
Excellent. Excellent. Harry, you are a super producer, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you, buddy.
Larry, you can find me at Larry Underpants. Don't ask. On Twitter, Twitch, at my channel where I stream typically on Wednesdays. I throw in a secret stream every now and then. Um, but yeah, I'm usually most active there on Twitter. I've got the Instagram handle as well, Larry Underpants. Feel free to follow me there. Keep in touch that way. But for the Gamer Sleep podcast, that's the end of the show. Game on and sleep well.